So, good morning. Okay, or afternoon. We're headed on Park Road 100 north. That goes straight down the middle of South Padre Island, and we're going to go up here a little ways and then find a place where we can cut over to the beach and go for a little drive down the beach. I went for a walk on the beach this morning, and the tides seem like they're running a little bit low today, so I thought it might be a good day to go for a drive. In the meantime, I thought I might talk a little bit about sort of the history of this place, or a quick overview of the history of this place. Let's go back. People who've watched some of my other videos know I like to go back further the better. So let's go back to, let's say the last ice age, toward the end of it. The seas were 400 feet lower than they are today, which means that South Padre Island wasn't really an island there. There was no Laguna Madre. You would have been able to walk from the mainland out to the island, since the Laguna Madre right there is about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40, 50 feet deep in a deep spot, so it's not that deep of a body of water. And so it would have been totally dry during the last ice age. The Gulf of Mexico would have extended several miles, miles and miles out. They do a lot of shrimping in this area. At one time, Port Isabel, that's just across the Laguna Madre from South Padre Island, was the largest producer of shrimp in, I believe, in the world. I know at least the United States. They pulled out in the millions of tons of shrimp a year out of the Gulf. And to do that, they would use these boats they call shrimp trawlers, shrimper boats. They use big nets, and they stretch across the bottom of the net a chain, and they call that a tickler, or sometimes a Texas tickler. And they drop the net down, and that chain drags along the bottom of the ocean, and the shrimp that are hanging out at the bottom jump up because of the chain, and they jump into the net, and then they can reel the net in and harvest the shrimp. Well, in the late 60s, a shrimper pulled his net up, and he's out trawling in about 160 or 170 feet of water off the Gulf of whatever it is here. Anyways, out in the Gulf. And when he pulls up his net, he's got a tooth from a Colombian mammoth in his net that they pulled off the bottom of the ocean in 165 feet of water. So during the ice age, that mammoth had just walked that far out. There was no, the water was trapped at the poles then. So there were people here as well during that time, because they found Clovis points and Clovis artifacts on Texas beaches. So fast forward, to more modern times, when Spanish ships first started coming here, there was a shipwreck, and some survivors of that shipwreck came ashore and were, I believe, made into slaves by some coastal Native American groups, and then they escaped later and made it to Mexico to rejoin up with some other, Spanish sailors. There were several tribes along the coast here that basically fed themselves and made a sustained hunter-gatherer type living, harvesting what they could out of the ocean. So several times people will find arrowheads and knife blades and worked pieces of stone out here on the beach. Fast forward a little bit further, and this was sort of a hangout or a hiding spot for several of the pirates that operated in this area in the 1700s and up into the 1800s. I think Jean Lafitte was known to come to South Padre Island quite a bit, and he claimed he could hide his boat in the Laguna Madre there, and it couldn't be seen from the open ocean. The island sort of hid it. So, and it's suspected there were other pirates as well. There's all kinds of stories about, of course, because the pirates were here, there's buried treasure and blah, blah, blah. And they buried some treasure and they were going to come back and get it later and never came back. But I don't know if that's true. I know that the state of Texas does not want you hunting for pirate treasure, digging big holes on the beach. That's one thing I know for sure. They don't want you doing that. Now, if you find an arrowhead on the surface, I know that's a historical artifact in that, but as far as I know, and I'm not a law professor, but as far as I know, if you find a surface find on the beach, an arrowhead, you can pick it up. There's beaches in Texas that are known for having Native American artifacts on the surface, and people go there specifically to hunt them, and they post it on the internet what they found. I know you're not supposed to go disturbing, like if you find a shipwreck or if you find some buried treasure on the coast, they don't want you digging that stuff up. They don't want you digging around the beach looking for buried pirate treasure. So some distinction there. I've had people tell me that if you find an arrowhead on the beach, you're not allowed to pick it up. But I've flat asked park rangers and everybody else, and they all have said the same thing. That we don't really care if you find something on the surface, pick it up, and you're good to go. It's when you go digging holes that they get nervous. So right now we're in sort of a newer part of the island. It's been recently developed. Anyways, so then you move forward into the 1900s, and Texas is settled. There was the last battle of the Civil War was fought not too far from here. That was close to Port Isabel, which is right across the Laguna Madre from South Padre. And there were some decisive battles of the Mexican-American War in the mid-1800s that were fought here. There's the Palo Alto battlefield is near Brownsville, and that's where the United States won that war, or won that battle, and basically won that war because they had better gunpowder and better cannons. Their cannons could shoot quite a bit further than the ones the Mexicans were trying to use. So when everybody, just lined up and start shooting at each other, the United States cannons had better reach, and so the Mexicans couldn't compete with that. Every time they'd get close enough that their cannons might be able to reach the troops, they'd start getting whacked. So that was sort of a decisive thing in the Mexican-American War. They had first ferry crossings to come over to South Padre Island before there was a bridge. And then there was a bridge that got destroyed in a big hurricane. I believe there was a big hurricane in the 30s that hit here and wiped out a bunch of stuff, wiped out half the town of Port Isabel on the mainland, on the other side of the barrier island. So pretty huge storm. And then they built a new bridge, a causeway, in the 70s, and then a freighter hit the causeway, I think in the 90s, and knocked a big piece of the bridge out. And it was at night, and some people were on the bridge at the time and wound up driving off the broken piece. Somebody got killed. Then they rebuilt the bridge again, and they put a raised piece in the middle where the big boats could get through, and that's what we have today to get to South Padre. South Padre, I believe in the 70s and up into the 80s, started being a very popular place to come for spring breakers. They would you know, come down from the north, and it was by February, March, it's already nice and warm here, and you got nice weather, and they could come down to the beach and hang out and swim and do what young college students do. So that's that, and since then the island's just grown. It's all kinds of hotels and condos and houses, and there's just, the tourism down here is crazy. You've got an island that 2,000 people live on it, and every weekend there's 20 or 30,000 people there, and it's not even that crowded. There's that many rooms. All right, we're getting ready to go on the beach. I'm gonna flip my truck into four-wheel drive here. I'm in a little four-wheel drive Ranger. And you can see there's a lot of soft sand here. They don't maintain this entry point very well. But when you got four-wheel drive, you can usually scoot across it. If you don't have four-wheel drive, don't attempt to do what I just did in that spot. There's other places you can get on the beach that are up the beach more, and probably a lot easier to get on the beach up there than is where I just got on. So now we are on the beach, going for a little ride. I hope my little camera stays hooked up here. Hang on. So here we are, South Padre Island, and we are just heading down the beach. Somebody camping up here. Looks like they've pulled their whole camper down here and set it up. I'm gonna see if I can get up here a little further. Maybe it's a little smoother. There we go. So camping, and now I'm just cruising along. I'm going to try to go down here a little bit further, sort of past where you could go if you were just walking. I want to try to stay out of the soft sand, but we'll see how it goes. All right, I've just decided to try and hold the little camera here while I drive for a bit, because it's wanting to fall off of that visor all the time, and I think I can get some better shots just holding it. So here we are, got some more campers up here on the left, someone tent camping. Sand is very soft. I would not try this if I didn't have a four-wheel drive. I would have, which is the same advice I give everybody who they say they want to come down here and drive on the beach. I say, if you got four-wheel drive, you'll be fine. Don't have four-wheel drive, won't be fine. It is a little soft. It's fun if you're in a four-wheel drive, but if you're not, anyway. The other day I was down here, and somebody had come down in a little Kia or something, and just a regular passenger car, and I helped pull them out. They had gotten stuck, and their wheels were buried, and yeah, it was a mess. Anyways, I had a tow rope with me, and me and another guy helped them get out. So driving on the beach at South Padre Island. Not many places left you can really do this. I mean, this is really kind of a treat, you know, and it's really beautiful. Pan over and get some shots of the ocean here. We drive by. There's a big blue herring sitting there. Okay, here we are, middle of nowhere. You can see the closest person that way, and then you can turn around here and see the closest person that way. It looks like there might be a truck coming this way. I'm gonna walk down here to the water. So it's gorgeous. It's about 82 degrees. It's a little breeze, but it's not too windy. It's just absolutely beautiful. All kinds of shells down here. I guess because there's not too many people to pick them up. Every once in a while you find a cool one. This is also a place you just look around, you might find an arrowhead. You never know. This is, anyways, gorgeous. People riding horses here earlier. There's somebody in a truck. So, South Padre Island, Texas. Driving on the beach. Can't beat it. There's the beautiful Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America, whatever you want to call it. Been the Gulf of Mexico my whole life. It's just hard for me to get that out of my head. Anyway, gorgeous. Few low-lying clouds. Warm, clear waters. The fishing's great here. I've been told. There's a lot of people that just drive down here and go fishing. I've even seen people, they've got these little rigs on a drone where they'll fly a drone out with their line on it so they can get it way out there and drop it. And heard they do pretty good. Every once in a while somebody will catch a shark here on the shore, but there's other big game fish they catch here. Just absolutely gorgeous. Gonna turn around here. Oh, there's the truck. I got a Ford Ranger with four-wheel drive. It's a 2024. I've had it for a little over a year now. Man, really love it. It's been a great little truck. I have a little camper. It tows it no problem. Just for doing this kind of stuff. And hey, if we come down to South Padre, want to drive on the beach, pop it in four-wheel drive and just go, go, go. So, just absolutely gorgeous. So right now, the way this beach is situated, actually when I'm staring across this, I'm looking to the east. So if you were to draw a line straight across from where I'm at now, I think you'd probably hit the Gulf Coast of Florida somewhere. I'm way down on that little tip of Texas. So the sun comes up right over the Gulf here. And makes for beautiful sunrises. And it's just one of my favorite spots in the whole world is South Padre Island, Texas. Just doesn't really get much better than this. I've been to beaches and oceans on both coasts in Europe, and just nothing comes close to this one. Nothing. So, flip this around. I don't know if you can see me or not. I think you probably can. I don't have the screen flipped around. But anyways, hey, that's it for now. Been nice talking to you. Hope you enjoyed the ride down the beach. And we'll catch you again on the next one. We'll see you later. Bye.